What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan with Astrodfs bringing you a brand new video. Today's video, I'm going over my top 10 fantasy rankings for tight ends for the 2024 season. If you guys are interested in getting my full rankings or ghost rankings for the season, the link for Discord will be in the description below. But let's get into it. Obviously, you guys could see a few extras. I'm not hiding anything, right? It's just something I worked on. So starting off at number one is Sam Laporta for Detroit, right? I think Travis Kelce very close, but overall I think Sam Laporta is going to be the tight end one. I think Travis Kelce still getting older, right? I think their passing game got better. I hope Hollywood Brown doesn't miss a lot of time, and hopefully somebody else steps up in that absence. They're, but Laporta, right, gets another year of experience. The offensive line is still solid. We're hopeful him and Williams take that leap. And Laporta took a leap. Like, to have a rookie season like Laporta is an outlier in the NFL. Usually tight ends take 2 to 3 years to kind of get that season, hopefully. But Laporta did it in year one. So you're getting another year of experience of Goff and Laporta getting that chemistry. I know for a per game basis, Kelce is right there, but I still think Sam Laporta, based off of his schedule, and the guys he's going to be going up against in linebackers and safeties, I kind of think just benefits Laporta just a little bit more. And still having a nasty run game with Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery kind of makes that difference. Kelce, right? I think Kelsey's still going to be top five easy tight end, right? Top three tight end if he's healthy, which his career, he's been a healthy guy, so that doesn't concern me. I already mentioned in the running back, quarterback videos, wide receiver. Kansas City's wide receivers got better, right? They add Xavier Worthy, they add Marquise Brown, they add basically a U-Haul of running backs to try to help Pacheco and get some depth there, and just get different. You bring back Mecole Hardman, who before he got hurt and then traded was having a good year. We'll see what that kind of looks like. But I think overall, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes still going to have a great season together. I just have Sam Laporta just slightly above him, but I think they're still having a solid season. And then number three is Mark Andrews, right? Mark Andrews is going to be ahead of Trey McBride for me. Mark Andrews in a very good offense, a very efficient offense with a good offensive line. The play calling is still going to be good. They have a really good defense. They add a running back that's going to make their offense what it was a few years ago for Lamar to help him out. But Mark Andrews gets, Zay Flowers another year into the system. Hopefully, Rashard Bateman has a better season. But overall, I think Baltimore's offense just going to get slightly better than they were with Derrick Henry being added. Obviously, they have a tough schedule being in the division that they're in. But overall, when Mark Andrews plays, right, him and Kelce are two guys that are very consistent and that are going to get targets, that have touchdown upside, and can be a number one on their teams, right? All three of these guys, Laporta, obviously, Laporta's not, he's kind of that too, but Kelce and Andrews are ones, in my opinion, and that's why Mark Andrews is always going to be like a top five tight end. He's still 28, right? He's not hitting that upper age for tight ends, which for tight ends doesn't get as worrisome. You know what they do. They're not, running 20, 30 yards down the field. They're short, get catches, maybe then get some yak and touchdown upside. So Mark Andrews, injuries, but that's not, again, what his career has been. He's been fairly healthy his career, so that's why he's my tight end three. Tight end number four, Dalton Kincaid, right? I have Trey McBride lower. We'll get into that in a second. Dalton Kincaid has a real shot of being the number one pass catcher out in Buffalo. Yes, they add Keon Coleman. I still think Khalil Shakir takes a jump. The offensive line, very skeptical of. Dawson Knox is there, yes, but we saw what Dalton Kincaid, when he gets his targets, of what he's capable of, and he's a top five tight end, right? He's a real threat and could be the number one pass catcher on that team, right? Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Curtis Samuel, like those guys are going to find a way to get open, get the ball, make stuff happen. But I still think Dalton Kincaid's probably the most reliable upside pass catcher on that offense as of right now. Like we need something to show during the season to say otherwise. But Dalton Kincaid is going to be that guy for me for Buffalo. If I'm getting Josh Allen shares, I want Dalton Kincaid. So I'm not going to take a 50-50 shot on Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman all the time. I'd rather take a shot on Kincaid where I know what he's capable of. Number 5, Trey McBride, right? This is where I get different. I believe McBride is ahead of Andrews and Kincaid in ADP. I get it, right? I like Trey McBride. I'm going to start by saying I like Trey McBride. I'm very happy he had the season he had, especially towards the back half of that season. I'm not yet going to buy in on this Arizona offense changing, right? I'm not going to buy in that Trey McBride at his ADP, in front of Mark Andrews and Kincaid, where he's not going to be the number 1 pass catcher, he's going to be the number 2, where they add Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson comes back, they add someone like Zay Jones, not a real threat, right? But still, they add him to make some type of pass catchers out there compared to what they had last season, right? You had, Rondell Moore, Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch. You didn't have a real threat for a pass catcher. Kyler Murray threw to the one guy that could do stuff, and that was Trey McBride. Trey McBride's still a good talent, still going to have a good year. That's why I have him as tight end 5. But I'm not taking him at his peak, at his ceiling. I'm not doing that. I don't expect him to have the same season he did last year with someone like Marvin Harrison on that team. I just don't, right? I don't think it happens. They add Trey Benson in the running back room. They want to get the running game going. Their offensive line's solid. Their defense still sucks. Still sucks. I'm going to say it. I know they have a defensive head coach. It still sucks. There's not enough talent there yet. But that's Trey McBride, dropping down to number 5 is clear-cut why, right? I just am not buying in on his ceiling. Number 6 is George Kittle. Slightly ahead of Evan Ingram. If you want to put Evan Ingram ahead of George Kittle, I fully understand. But the upside for George Kittle, when he has his games, there's a good chance you're winning, right, in your fantasy matchups if George Kittle has one of his games where he's getting you 25-plus points. There are weeks that George Kittle is going to hurt you, though, and he's going to get you 5 or less points, and San Fran still blows teams out or has a very good offensive game. That's still going to happen. But with the discussions with Ayuk, George Kittle could be the number 2 pass catcher, right, if Ayuk is shipped behind Debo. I still think Ayuk comes and stays at least one more season in San Fran. We'll see. The season starts in 2 weeks, so something's got to happen if something's going to happen. But the upside for George Kittle is why he is tied on 6, just slightly over Evan Ingram, Evan Ingram at number 7. They add Brian Thomas. I still think Gabe Davis can be good. They have Christian Kirk. Tank Bigsby, I think, has looked pretty good in the preseason, can make the run game better. I want to say slightly improve their defense, but time will tell on that aspect. Evan Ingram is a high target needed tight end, right? He needs his target to be efficient. You don't go and add Brian Thomas. You don't go and add Gabe Davis to then say, Evan Ingram is still going to be the number 2 pass catcher, right? He still can be. I still think he is the number 2 pass catcher. But you don't add those guys to then have as efficient and as much targets to Evan Ingram as possible. Now, I do think touchdown upside, this helps Evan Ingram, right? I think having Travis Etienne still top 10 running back in the league. He's just efficient. He's underrated. He's under talked about. Adding the pass catchers there, you get Trevor Lawrence, hopefully year 2 in the system, right? A system that was good for him. But Evan Ingram is not going to get the targets he gets. He makes up for the targets with touchdown upside this season. That's where I have him at number 7. He loses those targets, still has the receptions, could see more yardage too. But the touchdown upside, I think, is good for Evan Ingram. I expect him to see quite a bit of touchdowns this season with the pass catchers they have. So, number 7. Number 8, Kyle Pitts, right? I can't be high on Bijan and Drake London and be higher on Kyle Pitts as well, right? I think Kyle Pitts has a very solid season. I think he is an elite tight end. We all know he's just needed good quarterback play, which he's going to have as long as Kirk can come back 90% of what he was. We know Kirk Cousins is just an upgraded Derek Carr, right? Derek Carr is a guy that just moves the sticks. That's what he does. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Kirk Cousins, a little more explosive, right? But efficient nonetheless. Kyle Pitts is going to see an upgrade from that. I believe you don't draft Kyle Pitts where you draft him. And granted, this head coach, this coaching staff did not draft Kyle Pitts, right? But they know the talent that Kyle Pitts is. We've heard it been talked about from the coaching staff that Kyle Pitts is going to be included efficiently in this offense. But I still think I can't be high on Bijan, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts, right? I believe that can happen, but I'm not going to take all those bets and place them that all Atlanta is going to take such a high upsided upgrade there. So Kyle Pitts is still tight end 8, which I think is very doable. Still has a really good season. Just going to have some up weeks. I'm going to say kind of esque George Kittle, right? He's going to have weeks where hopefully he gets you 20 plus points, right? We see touchdown targets hopefully this season. But receptions, yards, there's going to be games where they run the ball really well, right? Bijan, Tyler Algier run the ball really well, and Kyle Pitts doesn't need to be included as much, and we're going to see some down weeks with him. That's just tight ends in general, though. But Kyle Pitts, I think, is if you're playing basketball, I think Kyle Pitts is a good tight end to have there. Jake Ferguson, number 9. Look, I get it. I think Jake Ferguson, for his touchdown upside, made him so good. I will say this, that most people don't want to say, and if it bites me, it bites me. I think Ezekiel Elliott is a good red zone running back, right? He's a guy that finds the hole and gets in. He finds a way to get in, and that's what he did. That's what Dallas could not do last season. Tony Pollard could not get in the red zone. Dowdle, Malik Davis, Deuce Vaughn could not get in the end zone. It made it very difficult for Dallas to score touchdowns they did 2 years ago. Who saw benefit? Jake Ferguson did. CeeDee Lamb did. You add Ezekiel Elliott, their red zone offense gets better, right? Zeke is not going to be the same running back he was years ago as far as everything else. What he does do is he's efficient in the red zone, right? He could not be, right? The age could be something getting him. But I still think Zeke is a guy that just finds you, you need 2-3 yards. He's going to find a way to get you those 2-3 yards, right? So Jake Ferguson, the touchdown upside goes lower. He's still the number 2 target. I'm going to say number 2 target. I understand Brandon Cooks there. Jalen Tolbert, I think, going to be more efficient than he has been for Dallas since being drafted there. But Jake Ferguson is not going to see the same touchdown upside he is. Now, granted, Dallas has been targeting tight ends in the red zone. That's what they do. I still think Zeke being there is going to take a hit on Jake Ferguson. And then number 10 is Brock Bowers. Or David Njoku, sorry. Brock Bowers is very close. That's what I meant. But David Njoku overall, I just want Deshaun Watson comfortable, right? That sounds weird. I want him comfortable in the offense. We saw what Joe Flacco was able to do. We saw how he was able to elevate Amari Cooper and David Njoku. That's what we need out of Deshaun Watson. We need Deshaun Watson when he was back in Houston. Cleveland has a very good schedule, especially for someone like David Njoku on this season. It's still worrisome, though, because you still, like Nick Chubb, looks like he could be healthy sooner than later. Jerome Ford's still going to get those looks. They add Deontay Foreman, apparently, who is back already. Jerry Jeudy gets added to that offense. I think there's a lot of factors that take away from David Njoku, but I still think he has those games where he's going to be an elite tight end. He's just going to have more down weeks than higher upside weeks, and that's why Brock Bowers is like right on the edge for me. I think Trey Tucker stepped in. Gardner Minshew being there is going to help Vegas, in my opinion. and he could be the number 3 pass catcher on that offense. Could be an offense that's going to throw the ball a lot, to try to keep their pass rushers healthy and efficient on defense. But these guys are very close, in my opinion. Njoku, Bowers, I think you could put either one in that number 10 spot for me, and I wouldn't complain. I wouldn't have an argument, right? I just still think I'm going to take the more experienced tight end over the rookie for that aspect. So hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. If you guys, like I said, are interested in it, the link for the Discord will be down in the description. I always see you guys in the next one.